Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here or right here.
All the time?
From being a background dancer to father MC, to going to Howard University, from graduating, going to Uptown Records, then starting Bad Boy, to still being relevant to this day, man, P. Diddy has done it all. But now the stakes are getting deeper. In 2018, Diddy broke up with longtime girlfriend Cassie, who he was in love with to a T. And he dropped a song discussing that called Gotta Move On. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Diddy had a personal trainer by the name of Alex Fine, who she moved on to in 2019. And when she did, Alex Fine became a big time Diddy hater. Now, I want to read some words of that song that Diddy created, and I can't play it, but I can read it. You found a new man, so I gotta move on. Guess you got a new agenda with someone you barely know. I won't say you wrong. Guess you had to move on. This is what Diddy is saying. But Alex Fine, her new husband, takes shots at Diddy quite frequently, right? And last Pride Day, he says this: Happy Pride to all my LGBTQ friends. Attached is a charity that helps people who are in the closet and gotta move on, along with other resources. Of course, we know he's talking about Diddy. And
all right, it's a lot going on. So apparently I heard a little bit about that, how that was Diddy's personal trainer that he hired for her as well. And then she started sleeping with the guy. Now she's married and got a kid by the guy.
Barbaric.
You already know my what I'm gonna say. So I mean, I think that it definitely comes off. Now when we talk about women, like this is that dark side of woman, right? Sleeping with the personal trainer. Cassie, what was you doing, madam? But at the same time,
dark side of women. Whoa, is that how we gonna sum that up, Crystal? That's
well, no, I'm gonna get to it, but I gotta start from the, like that was a personal trainer. I like to be fair. You know what I mean? If anybody is moving on with somebody that close to your man, that's kind of crazy to me. But hey, it probably makes sense if your partner is acting like the devil. I mean, hell, you're gonna run into the arms of anybody that's gonna, kind of help you and be that loving, I guess, caring individual. I just, from the first clip that we watched, yeah, it's kind of crazy that she moved on with him, but sounds like he loves her. Hell, you found love in, what did Rihanna say? We found love in a hopeless place. Sometimes you find love in a hopeless place. You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
P. Diddy is, to me, he speaks for himself. His behavior has been called out multiple times. And I just think it's only so long you can run from your shadow before it's going to catch up to you. So that's what I think.
Okay. So you ladies got anything before we dive back into this video?
The only thing that I think is interesting is, I guess they were together for a number of years, 10 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they had no kids, but she gets with this man and has two kids all of a sudden. Like, that tells me, like, she didn't want to have kids with this man. And I would think that if you're in it for the money, you would be like, let me have a baby by Diddy. Like, if that's the case.
Diddy
but she
didn't
didn't. She made it a point not to do that. For a
Diddy
reason.
Didn't want to give her a baby.
Huh? Oh, it could be. It could be.
But Diddy tried to give Krisha one. Ain't that her name, Krisha?
No, Carisha wants a baby. He don't want to give her no baby either. That's why some other girl had one last year. He don't want to give neither one of them babies.
Or get married. They don't want to do, like they say 50 Cent just split up with his old lady because she want to get married. He said, I'm not getting married. And he been with that girl for years, Cuban Links or whatever her name is. And they said, like 50 said, I love her, but I'm not getting married. It's not happening. I don't blame him. Don't blame a man with that much resource. Ain't no way I would be thinking about marriage. I got that kind of money. There's no way.
No,
no way.
No, we talk about that. Yeah, and to Crystal's point, I think one of the first times she ever came up on the panel, she said that it would behoove ladies and men to get together and build together. And I agree with that, because these guys get the King's Gold, and it is in his best interest to at least assume at least a little bit that whoever he get with is there primarily solely for the resources. And that's unfortunate.
Hey, Cassie has moved on with her new life. She has at least one child now, but now Cassie is up with a new lawsuit, and that lawsuit is a lot. And that is that Diddy repeatedly physically abused Cassie for over a decade. And some of the stuff includes raping people, right? And doing crazy things. But hold on one second. Young Jock recently stopped by Vlad TV. He talks about an interesting story that occurred with Cassie while Young Jock was out with his wife. Let's play the first part to it here.
You remember Scarface when that white woman was coming down the escalator? Yeah. He was in that man's house and he saw that man's wife and was like this. I was watching Puff. And then Puff was looking up there. He saw this white woman. It was bottles on bottles on bottles around her. It was lit. Puff jumped out. Me and Cassie sitting next to each other. My wife right here, Cassie right here. The nigga jumped off the bar, came over and said, yo, Cassie, tomorrow, I want you to shave the side of your head.
Huh? But then here's kind of the damning part. Let's play it.
And I was like, God damn. I'm like, what the kind of request is that? Like, so when I'm like, what the when I look up there, this white woman's side of her head was shaved, and the bitch looked good with it. So I was looking at Cassie. I was like, well, I was like, you're not about to do that, are you? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do.
Now we can't say that's abusive, but she did cut her hair off because she said, if Diddy wants me to do it, I gotta do it. So I don't know if you want to consider that to be abuse, but a lot of stuff she's saying is abusive. And that.
So we'll stop it here. Is it really abusive? Is it really? Like, she know what she signed up for. I don't think at any point, like, she couldn't have left, because at one point she obviously did leave. So
it's the signs of abuse, like I was saying last week with the lawyer. And funny, more comes out with some people. I'm just saying, it's signs, little things that certain. Just be if Mr. Walker told his wife, or Gavin told his wife, babe, shave your head, babe, you're gonna look good. That doesn't mean they're abusive. Okay, like that's crazy as hell. But when you do that with other things and then other things, then you start to see signs of an abusive person. And for me, I'm not going to say that one thing, but it's everything put together. It looks a mess.
Or is Diddy a modern day, like, royalty, if you will, king? Like, if you go back 1,000 years, would he be a king, and a woman dating somebody like that? Would they not be held to such wild standards?
Not with people of color, that? Not to make it that, but with people of color, we never treated our queens and kings like that. That was the Greeks and Romans treating their queens like that.
We can't say that. I would say people who always had the King's Gold like this have always lived alternative lifestyles.
There you go.
And go ahead, Mr. Walker.
You can't a man or woman with such an abundance of resources, actual wealth and power, you can't like isolate them to pretty much anybody. They can do what they want. People earn resources so that they can move as they see fit. I really don't know what people's hang up on that is. What Kanye say? Kanye say, you think I do all this just to drive a RAV4? No. People like things. They want power. They want influence. So I say, yeah, I'm riding on Gavin's crazy train. I say this is like Saudi royalty. That sounds like something those Saudi royalty guys would do with the tigers around. That's some Diddy stuff.
That is some you know what stuff too.
And not saying we agree with it. Not saying we agree with it. It's just that we understand, just like somebody like Cassie should understand what they signing up for. That's all.
I mean, she knew what was going on, but also too, I think sometimes you don't know what you're getting into until you're in it. And I think that although a person would think like, oh, that's common sense, powerful man, he's gonna do some powerful things. But I mean, Bob Marley was a powerful man. He's he's a freaking idol. And he never allowed his money and his resources to make him want to treat women in a bad way. If you doing it, like they say, what comes out of you is already within you. If I get angry on this panel, it's anger somewhere already in me.
There you go.
So I just think that it's just showing what's already in him. There are plenty of billionaires, millionaires, six-figure guys who don't even count to Diddy status, but I mean, who don't treat their wives and partners like that. What do they say? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like, it's responsibility that comes with power. And sometimes people just lose it, to me.
Yeah, I agree. When you get the bread, you find out who a man is once he gets resources and has financial freedom. And this is who Diddy always wanted to be. Yeah, that's understood. And Bob Marley is just a different man. That's why I said we can't put any individual man with resources in the box, because they're who they truly are is going to come out. So Bob Marley had world renowned fame and gravitas, and he had a different message because that's who he was. Well, we talking about Sean Diddy Puffy Combs, and he with the smoke.
Diddy had her doing some wild stuff. I believe everything that's in the lawsuit. I believe everything because, it's Hollywood and his parties are infamous. They talk about it all the time. So I believe everything, I don't feel like she should have filed the lawsuit. I feel like that's like, I wouldn't consider it. Do we say the A word? I wouldn't consider it that. I would consider it voluntary. That was a decision. It wasn't like you can't say I'm being held captive, but being taken to lavish hotels. It's like at any point you could have left. Like, you didn't have to stay. You stayed because it's Sean Combs. Like let's be realistic here. So, I feel like she's trying to maintain her relationship because she more than likely told her husband everything. And it's hard for him to move past it. So I feel like he more than likely pushed her into making this decision. Because I think she would have never said anything. Because they've been married for 4 years. So I don't think she would have said anything if he didn't push her into it.
Good point.
What you got, Lam?
Well, I was just gonna say that there is such a thing as called like Stockholm syndrome, and I think that Cassie was young. Like, she wasn't 35 years old. She was 19 years old. She was in the industry already, but then you're with Diddy, and Diddy is just like an opulent person in the industry because he's just owned everything, right? So, with the Stockholm syndrome type things, right? They fall in love with their abusers, or they comply. And so I'm not saying that that's necessarily what happened with Cassie, but I last week I was talking about behaviors, right? And to me, like her behavior, which was she wasn't out, in the public eye trying to make Diddy upset about anything. Like, has anyone ever even heard Cassie talk about anything ever? Like, no. She seemed like she was doing what she was supposed to do, or doing what not supposed to do, doing what she was told to do because she felt like she had to do it. Like, that's what it seems like to me, And then the other thing is that I do believe what same thing with me in whatever it's not. Yeah, everything that's in the lawsuit, it's so detailed and it's so many crazy things. It's like, how can somebody make all of that up? Unless you just have a wild imagination. And granted, it could have been where it was like an agreement where this is, if you're gonna be with me, this is what you're gonna do, and she went along with it. But then if that's the case, then Diddy, like, that's not normal behavior. So if she's coming after you because you want to be wild, then you want to be wild and she's coming after you now. Like, I'm just saying, like, take your consequences of behaving that way, right? And then the other part is, one of the parts is why I believe it is because a third party actually was like, yeah, this happens to me, that happened to me, which was Kid Cudi, right? Like, she said that Diddy said that he was going to blow up his car, and his car blew up in his driveway, and he was like, yeah, that actually happened. So it's like, come on now, like, that's not a coincidence, that's a real thing that happened. So it's like, if that's true, then what else is true? So
gangsters still exist. Make no mistake about it, man. Gangsters still exist, and most gangsters, real gangsters, ain't running around. No real gangsters running around with their pants sagging with the up in the pole on random folks for no reason. No, gangsters since the beginning of time, real gangsters have always worn suits and nice Italian shoes. And it don't matter the color. I'm telling you. Somebody in the chat said somebody like Cassie paid a heavy price. And that city girl that's with Diddy now, whatever her name is, yeah, they into using each other, to go potty on one another, man. They wild.
Huh.
And that's what I'm saying. If like the city girl, like if she later on was like, yeah, this happened to me, it's like, again, like, Diddy, you're complicit in the behavior that's making people want to come at you. Like, it is what it is,
He giving up that energy. It was the tomorrow. So yeah, it was the tomorrow for me. But that's a man with power. I made a suggestion for my wife to go natural way back, and she did. I said, I prefer you have natural hair. And I said, I don't want you to be bald headed either. Pretty much.
Right.
And you gotta paint the picture though. She didn't have to wake up and go to some salon and spend her own money. Somebody came to the house while she was eating brunch and all that.
But it's the tomorrow. He said, when you wake up tomorrow, shave your head. It's that part.
Yeah. So, here we go. We'll get back into it here. Shout out to Lucifer for sponsoring the show tonight. We appreciate you, brother. Here we go.
That is, she was beat, she was kicked, she was stomped on, she had black eye, she was bleeding. He had a lifestyle of substance abuse, and also there's the male prostitutes, which I won't get into on this episode. But that is exactly what she's saying, and now she wants $30 million. And not only that, the New York City Police Department is investigating this. But here's what I want to know: if all of this was the truth, why wait until now? Can I get a dun 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 sound effect? Now, the lawyer from Mr. Combs, Mr. Ben Affram, says Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Miss Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation. Now, we've also seen this with Will Smith's former friend and former assistant, who was saying that he was getting his cheeks clapped by Dwayne Martin. But something that I want to kind of also talk about, and I want to discuss this in great detail. And I think that some of the stuff that she's saying could definitely be true. I mean, I defended Dwight Howard saying that those allegations were baseless, and we found out that Dwight Howard was clapping cheeks and getting his cheeks clapped. Which one you want to take it? I'm not sure. But some of these things I've heard about P. Diddy. It's been ringing in the industry for quite some time that he could be at the best bisexual and, doing crazy things and whatever. So I could possibly believe that she's not lying about everything. I mean, some of the stuff must be true. But here's the situation, right? Cassie moved on to the next guy, and the next guy was broke. Alex Fine is poor in comparison to Diddy. He can't keep up that same lifestyle that she was used to, and she's no longer hot, and she's no longer, being demanded in the industry. And as far as the fan base, they also had to move on, and Diddy is still popping, and he's still out here in these streets, and he reinvented himself just like 50 Cent did. And when he reinvented himself, he reinvented Revolt, and in a Revolt you got Drink Champs. I mean, Diddy just keeps being that man in the industry. I believe he's now worth $1 billion. But at the same time, Alex Fine is still poor and still a nobody. So in order for them to get some money off of a guy that they felt wouldn't be doing so well, here's this. Because if it took you 4 to 5 years to do this, why didn't you do it at first? Why did you wait so long? No, you have 2 kids, and your guy isn't that rich, and you're out here upset because you have no money now. And that's what happens when you're rich and you have things going on. And again, a lot of rich folks do crazy things. I'm not trying to justify it as it being right. I mean, we've heard a lot of people doing crazy things that are celebrities. And hey, a lot of times that's breaking the law. But why wait until 5 years from now? We're waiting till 5 years because you felt that you and Mr. Alex Fine would have issues. Look at J-Lo. She ain't suing Diddy because J-Lo is still rich, right? And she was with him for a long time. She's never said those things about Diddy at all. Why is it you saying those things about Diddy? Because you're probably poor, all right? And you need to make some money. And again, I probably believe that some of these things are true, but why wait until now? Because you don't have any other opportunities. And
that's my point right there. Like I said, two things can be true.
It doesn't matter, Gavin.
Oh, man.
If
That was my point. The first thing I initially said here when we first got into it, I said she could have had left. Nothing was keeping her there. She was going along for the ride because initially she was a musician and Diddy was boosting her career up because she wasn't talented, but she was on the billboards, right? Because of Diddy.
Are you familiar with what Lamb said about Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah.
She did not have Stockholm Syndrome. She put in her lawsuit that she only stayed because she thought she was going to be a successful artist, which didn't make sense because she said she suffered from social anxiety and couldn't perform publicly. And then that's when she became his girlfriend.
There you go.
So she had a boyfriend for 3 years before she even started dealing with him. So no.
So what I'm saying is that I'm saying Stockholm Syndrome, not to say that we don't know if she had it or not, but let's say she didn't have it. But what I'm saying is that even other people who we know have been in those situations, sometimes I know someone, I just talked to a woman about a month ago who was molested 4 times by the men on her block while she was under the age of 9. Her mom suspected it, but like back in the day, like she had good parents, like what we would consider like, good parents in Chicago. And she to this day is 40-some years old. And of course, I would never say her name, has never told her mother and literally didn't go to the guy's wedding, but let the rest of her family go. And her sister ended up cursing her out because she was like, why would you let us go? And this guy did X, Y, and Z to you. So what I'm saying is that yes, I partially agree with Pick Meat that when people have power and money, sometimes you're gonna do something strange for a little piece of change, and you think that it's okay until it's a night where you get punched in the face, or it's a night to where it started off as just little freaky kinks, and then the freaky kinks go into abuse and power, and you really see what you in. So all I'm saying too is that we don't know if she was slowly moved into this lifestyle. But I also agree with Gavin.
The lawsuit, it say it. She said within like 3 months of them dating, he was having her hire SA workers for her to sleep with in front of him.
Right, but that's not getting punched in the face though. That's being extra.
She wasn't
freaky.
really.
She
didn't get beat until like really late. I'm not staying with no man that wants to set me out. Like the second you invite other men over here, that's when I know it's my cue to go. Like
but Lamb might be into that. Lamb might be into that though. Lamb might be.
Where are the photos? Where are the photos? Where the police reports? Photos.
Whoa. Whoa. What?
Not Lamb. I don't think Lamb want to do that.
Lamb wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, like,
I don't tolerate nothing.
Yeah. Lamb is exonerated, folks. All right. But listen, the thing is, why have we never seen a picture of this woman with a black eye or a scar or something? Why don't you think she would have them saved somewhere? Why ain't she got? Come on now, you can't just say this
she
stuff.
Probably does, but who's gonna put that out on the internet like that? She would save that for court. This man ain't paying. What he paid $100 million? She was trying to get him to settle for $30 million originally, right? And then
he wanted to shut up. She was telling too much truth. And I don't think about it. I think she was talking about the lifestyle. As far as the abuse and stuff, that's subjective. But the stuff she was telling, she was giving some info that he wanted her to shut up.
I think that a part of it, I think it's both things. I think the money can be blinding. I think that it can be glamorous. You don't want to give up their lifestyle, but I would be lying if I said I didn't partially agree with Gavin. I think it's two things though. One, when you were abused, sometimes you don't understand how much the trauma has done to you until the damage is already done. Okay, we don't know if Cassie is depressed every other day and her husband got to get her out the bed because she's ashamed of the things that she's done. She feels worthless. We don't know that. But I also think, like Gavin said, shoot, when them coins get to running low, hey, like I said, a good wife will always be resourceful or try to, put a dollar where it need to be. So she probably said, and the husband probably was like, man, we need to get this dude. So he probably was like, let's sue him. Like,
Well,
I think it's a bit of both.
And I mean, the thing is that why now? Well, it's clear the reason why now is because the law that protect the law is going to go away. Like they had until next week for any sort of abuse that happens for people in the past to bring it to court.
Really? I thought that was only because of Cassie.
No,
That was already
the law's going away. That's why.
What
That's
law?
why
What
she
are
did
you
it.
talking about?
The law to where you can go back, it's like survivor or something, where you can go back at any for any
type
length of
stuff.
time,
Yeah,
like they did with Bill Cosby.
Oh,
they
they
went
getting
back
rid of
50
that?
years
Oh,
for him.
they need
They're
to get
getting
rid
rid
of
of it.
Are you kidding me?
No, they're getting rid of it. That's in the state of New York.
Wish they should. Wish they should.
stupid.
We don't have nothing against. Listen, Crystal. We don't have nothing against it, but if you gonna wait 5, 10, 20, 100 damn years, we ain't doing that. You got
Gavin,
about
you have
90 days.
never been.
It got to be some time limit on it, or else
No,
you
sometimes people are scared. Sometimes people are literally scared. I would be scared to sue P. Diddy. I probably wouldn't have done it, to be real with you. I would be watching my back for the rest of my life. That man is, and I don't even fear no man.
Now,
Would you say,
okay.
I would be
Oh my
terrified
God.
to sue
Oh,
P. Diddy.
Did you see the conspiracy theories about him? Oh, honey,
Yeah, he's like
I
straight
would
up.
Shut up.
So I'm scared, and I wouldn't even next to him every day. And I take that back. I don't fear no man. But I'm just saying, like, come on now, Gavin. You got to understand, like, fear might not be there for you, Gavin, because you've never, maybe you haven't been molested or R word, or I didn't mean to say the M word, but when you have actually been in that position, you should look at the psychological effects of even when a toddler is the M word or assaulted in any way. It has long-term effects on your brain, and they can see it with the MRI scan. So
So do you think? I don't think the longer you bottle that up, it ain't helping matters. You
It's
don't want to
not.
be locked down for 10 years with that on your back. You got why don't you just come out and get it over with? Say it.
Well,
That's
like,
my thing.
but here's the thing, though. Like, even let's just say, let's take Cassie off the table. Say she wasn't abused. Like, you guys do know that there are millions of people that get abused all the time, and they don't never say anything to anybody about it. You know that, right? Like, that's the thing. They just don't, because for whatever reason it is, it goes unreported, and it goes largely unreported.
Another thing is,
men
we got to separate. We got to separate children from adults when we speak in here.
They are children, are grown adults. We are our inner child.
No, because Cassie, we're speaking about Cassie as an adult. We're not talking about something that happened to her as a child. We got to keep it in
19.
context.
And we don't know what happened before then. How about this? In Cassie's tell-all book, what if she would have said her dad did it? Obviously,
and we ain't talking about that though. That's for her to deal with. We got to speak. You see what I'm saying? We can't do that.
This ain't got nothing to do with Cassie and her past before Diddy. This is her and Diddy, because we talking about legal and civil ramifications. We can't go back before him. But back on the Stockholm deal, I remember vaguely, Cassie being an entertainer, and it's my understanding she was not very successful. She may have had a hit here and there, but that was because of promoting and stuff along with Diddy. It was my understanding that Cassie, it was in her absolute best interest to go up under Diddy's wing and be whatever he wanted her to be, because her career was not. It was not. So I think she was there as she should have been for the opportunity, and it just didn't turn out to be the fairy tale she thought. That's my thoughts on it.
I think that's the case.
Oh,
to an extent.
I'm sorry. I think my headphones suck. I think because she racked up like a good 75 bodies dealing with Diddy, it's real hard. She told the truth to her husband. It's hard for them to face, and they need $100 million to get over their woes.
Period.
Like, that's just it.
And I think too, and we cannot say still she didn't still want her justice. I think unless you've been a person who has dealt with that type of abuse, you can't really speak from where they're coming from. But I mean, I think everybody is right. I think that's the thing. I think it's the money, the new man, the past, the trauma. I do deserve my justice. I think it was a lie. And Lamb just answered the question. I thought that they were specifically talking about Diddy. I had no idea that they were saying this is something getting written into law. And this world right now, man, it's all fine and dandy until it happened to you or one of your children, man. I'm just trying to be real. If y'all got daughters, we would all be a little bit more careful.
Well,
in
two
letting
things
them
is
have
true.
custody.
I think, not necessarily. That's at that point, men you got to take it to your own hands. If the law expires,
what if she ain't got no daddy? What if she don't have a dad?
We're gonna get back to old. It's gonna get real Old Testament real fast around here.
I mean,
and there you go. I want to touch on that. Yes. See, you talking about there's people that be knowing that children have been touched and don't nobody say nothing, and they going to weddings. Like Gavin said, like we all about the peace and kumbaya. With that being said, there ain't no way real men should know that there's an adult male that has done something so egregious, and y'all don't force atonement upon him. Y'all,
she never told her dad. She never told her dad or her mom. Her mom was the only one who asked her about it, and she never.
You see, we ain't doing this though. We ain't gonna do this, Crystal. We got to keep it on.
All right.
So here we go.
Hey, I question the men, Crystal. I question the men in that situation. All of them question them.
Lamb just changed it with that whole the law being passed. We need to really, and me too. I can definitely live under a rock sometimes when it comes to keeping up with politics, but it is important because that's one of the main reasons why she did it. We don't know who this dude. We could say he's a brokey, but he's a personal trainer, just like Keke Palmer's ex-boyfriend, who we said wasn't a brokey. So maybe he got a little money put up. Maybe we don't know, but he definitely, I think it is a money thing, but
for sure.
That's crazy. Like, how I don't care. What if I'm mentally not ready to tell on that person? What if I don't have evidence? What if it was too long ago? Like, that's crazy.
Here's the other flip of the coin though, Crystal. What about for every one person that, they got a leg to stand on, is they wrong, the person need to be brought to justice. What about every person that falsely accused people? So that
they don't go to jail, and that needs to be make that
law. Some of these men get sued, they lose money, your reputation. That's worse than going to jail. You got to walk free and have this on your resume.
So make that a law. Write that into law. Mm-hmm. Don't take away this, but write that into law. That okay, ladies, since y'all want to play and y'all want to accuse people of stuff that they didn't do, just like that bad. It was a football player. Somebody it just happened to recently. He lost his contract and all kinds of stuff because somebody lied. They need to, look into it. But don't fire anybody until you find out we got hard, cold evidence or it's been proven. Then if that woman just flat out lied, like I said last week, you need to go to jail, ma'am. You need to lose your nursing license or whatever you do. It is not okay. It's not okay.
I think it should be that way with any false accusation that damages another person, like anybody. Like something needs to happen with that for sure. I think that would be a real solution to all of the craziness. So
yeah.
So we don't we ain't sitting up here trying to disagree with what Crystal's saying. We like I said, we got daughters, so we ain't come on now. Understood, but
I think the moral of the story is like if you don't live wild and crazy, if you don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of it, just live normally. I mean, you can if you're a billionaire, right? You're Diddy, it's fine. But like, just know, I think this is a lesson. Like, if you want to do crazy things and the girl's complicit in it before, just know it could possibly come back to bite you. If things go south. Like, I'm just saying, like, just be cautious with what you're doing with people.
And to keep in mind, this was a civil matter. So I think civilly, maybe what you're saying, Crystal, but criminally, no. Like, you got to speak up. And like I said, we're going to ride with you, but speak up, ladies. Come on. Because now this man's still walking the street and it's happening to other people. So for the real stuff that's going on, y'all got to speak up.
But it's not you. It's easier said than done, Gavin. You a good father.
Understood. And hopefully we can, Mr. Walker, as we build this thing, we can sort of maybe give women a safe space to come and maybe, you know what I mean, sort of turn the leaf and come up here and we can do some of that type of stuff.
It's like Mr. Gavin, real quick, and I swear we're gonna move on because, like you said, this ain't about that. We ain't trying to feed children, okay? But like, can you imagine, Gavin, if you were molested by your father? I mean, the M word by your father. How quick? Like, that's embarrassing. Don't you feel like kind of like Like a man should never feel less than a man if somebody
Mhm.
abused you, period. And that's for any of these men on the chat, because I know it's some of y'all, because there's 1 in 5 boys that have been abused in some way, shape, or form. So, but that's why I don't like women playing about calling men the G word, because if he's been hurt by at a time where he didn't have an option, that's not his fault. And how dare you do that? But what I'm trying to get at it real quick, you would not, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to say that because people judge you.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna leave it
Yeah.
alone.
Now
But
that's
agree.
I can see it being. I agree. You know, I can see that it definitely would be embarrassing. You know, for a male to have to endure something like that, for sure. And back to what we were saying the other earlier here, Crystal, about that sexual submissiveness. Like, yeah, a man saying a young boy saying he got to deal with his manhood being tampered with. Some stuff he really can't get back. And then so we get it. We definitely get it. But a woman, please speak up. It's a woman supposed to, it isn't a woman's nature to cry and scream when she's been hurt. Let real men know so that they can act as men. Yeah, if you're quiet, men can't react.